Welcome to Brush and Beyond, where we see the world through an artist's eyes and learn to express our own worlds. Frida Kahlo, Painting My Story. The Mexican flag has all three of Frida Kahlo's favorite colors, red, white, and green. This is important to remember for later. When you hear the word Mexico, what do you think of? Maybe you think of flowers, cacti, animals, the Day of the Dead, or fun Latin dances. Mexico is a big country in Central America, just below the United States. Did you know the corn we often eat actually first came from Mexico? Mexico also has lots of beautiful cacti. Because the weather there is hot, the people are full of energy. They love to sing and dance, and if you walk through the streets of Mexico, you'll often hear happy songs and see people dancing. Long ago, the Mayan civilization also grew on this land. The largest Mayan archaeological site, named Chichen Itza, is located here. A sugar skull is one of the most iconic symbols of Dia de Muertos, or Day of the Dead, in Mexico. It is a brightly decorated skull traditionally made from sugar and sometimes chocolate, often used to honor and remember loved ones who have passed away. They are often decorated with colorful icing, foil, beads, or feathers, symbolizing the vibrancy of life and the joyful remembrance of ancestors. Instead of being scary, sugar skulls are playful, cheerful, and full of color, showing that death is seen not as an end, but as a part of the life cycle. Now, I have another question for you. Can you think of some famous women artists around the world? In the past, there weren't as many famous women artists as men because women didn't always get the same opportunities or chances to go to school or to make art. But over time, things changed. More and more women began studying and creating art, and today we can enjoy many wonderful works made by women. Even though there weren't too many in history up until now, some women became world-famous artists. For example, Yayoi Kusama from Japan, Georgia O'Keeffe from the United States, Louis Bourgeois from France, and today's star artist we'll learn about, the amazing Mexican painter Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo was a beautiful, optimistic, strong, and genius painter from Mexico. She was born in 1907 to a Hungarian Jewish father who worked as a photographer and a mother of Mexican indigenous heritage. From an early age, Frida stood out for her beauty and was deeply loved by her parents. Her father often taught her photography and how to hand-color photos, giving her an early introduction to art. Despite this promising beginning, Frida's life was filled with hardship. At the age of 6, she contracted polio, which left her right leg permanently thinner than her left. Yet she bravely endured and grew stronger through the experience. Later, her father sent her to study at the best school in Mexico at the time, the National Preparatory School. It was there she first encountered Diego Rivera, the great Mexican muralist who would one day become her husband as he was painting murals for the school. On September 17th of 1925, Mexico's Independence Day, 18-year-old Frida was riding a bus with classmates when she was tragically involved in a severe accident. Her injuries were so serious that doctors believed there was little hope for her survival. Yet, with remarkable strength of will, Frida miraculously overcame the ordeal and regained consciousness. After lying in bed for several months, she was even able to walk again. However, the accident consumed all her parents' savings for her medical care, leaving the family unable to support her schooling. The crash also left Frida with lasting physical injuries, causing her daily pain and requiring frequent hospital visits. Over the course of her recovery, she underwent more than 30 painful surgeries. Because of the fractures from the accident, Frida had to lie still in bed for a long period of time. To pass the time and cope with boredom and loneliness, she asked her father for painting supplies. To make it easier for Frida to paint while bedridden, her mother specially made an easel that could be used in bed and hung a mirror above it. This way, Frida gradually fell in love with painting and completed her earliest self-portraits while still in bed. Although the accident caused Frida immense physical pain, she never gave in to despair. She remained exceptionally beautiful, dressing up every day with care. Her black hair, long eyebrows that resembled the wings of a bird, and stylish updos made her strikingly attractive. Frida's beauty was so remarkable that, years later, she was even featured on the cover of the world-renowned magazine Vogue. Because of her love for painting, Frida sought guidance from Diego Rivera, the most famous Mexican muralist at the time, whom she had met briefly during her school years. When Rivera saw Frida's paintings, he was immediately captivated by her talent. He was convinced that Frida's fame would one day far surpass his own, and he became her greatest supporter, constantly encouraging her to continue creating. Frida, in turn, greatly admired Rivera's artistic skills, and they became close friends who mutually appreciated each other's work. Not long after, they fell in love and got married. Because Rivera was quite large and Frida was petite and delicate, they humorously referred to their union as that of an elephant and a dove. Having a child of her own was Frida's greatest wish at the time. However, due to the lasting effects of her accident, she suffered several miscarriages. Frida experienced immense pain, which she expressed through several paintings depicting the profound anguish of losing a child. In addition, although Frida and Rivera loved each other deeply, Rivera was notoriously unfaithful throughout his life, causing Frida frequent emotional suffering. Regarding exhibitions, Frida only held one in her lifetime. It was the spring of 1953, and her health had already deteriorated significantly. Doctors advised her not to attend in person, as her body could not support standing. Of course, Frida did not ignore their advice, but she still made it to the exhibition in a remarkable way. Frida, ever creative, stayed in bed while people carried both her and her bed to the exhibition. When she arrived, her fans enthusiastically surrounded her, offering congratulations. She humorously told everyone, "Attention, this corpse is still alive." At the exhibition, Frida told jokes, sang, and drank with her visitors, bringing joy to everyone present. The exhibition was a remarkable success. Shortly afterward, she unfortunately had to amputate her leg due to a medical condition, which caused her extreme depression. Nevertheless, she persevered. Sadly, the following year, she succumbed to multiple illnesses and passed away at the young age of 47. Frida Kahlo's final painting is titled Viva la Vida, or Long Live Life, created in 1954, just 8 days before her death. In her last year, Kahlo's health had significantly deteriorated. Despite these challenges, however, she continued to paint, focusing on still lifes like Viva la Vida, which allowed her to work from her bed. The watermelon motif in this painting is rich with symbolism. Watermelons, with their hard exterior and sweet interior, may represent Kahlo's own resilience, tough on the outside, yet filled with vitality. The physical pain, failed pregnancies, and emotional setbacks filled much of Frida Kahlo's short life with immense suffering. Yet what we must learn from her is that she was incredibly optimistic and strong. No illness or hardship could stop Frida from enjoying her life. She continued to love life, maintained a sense of humor, and enjoyed social interactions. Every day, she dressed beautifully and used painting as a way to cope with her pain. Her optimistic spirit continues to resonate through her work even today, making her one of the most contemporary and creative Mexican female painters of the 20th century and the most celebrated female artist from a non-Western country in the eyes of the Western world. Let's continue to take a look at some of her other portraits. So, considering all of these portraits, how do we think that Frida's self-portraits are different from those of other artists? For example, Van Gogh, Picasso, Lowry, or Warhol. Frida was also deeply influenced by Mexican culture. She often used bright, tropical colors and combined elements of realism and symbolism in her style. In this way, her backgrounds were unique, and the objects and animals often pictured in her self-portraits make her different from other artists. For example, Frida's self-portrait with a monkey. She often expressed her love for Mexico in her art. In Mexican mythology, monkeys symbolize desire, and in her self-portraits, she often wore traditional Mexican clothing and often used the red and green colors of the Mexican flag in her paintings. In this painting, Frida depicts herself wearing a thorn necklace with a hummingbird tied onto it. We can interpret this as Frida having much pain in her life, but still finding hope through it all, represented by the hummingbird. Frida's portrait thinking about death. In Mexican tradition, death also symbolizes life and rebirth. Frida depicted her reflections on death, viewing it as a pathway to the renewal of life. The roots growing from her body, additionally, symbolize her connection to Mexico. Another portrait is Frida's The Wounded Deer. Looking at this painting, why do you think she painted herself in this way? After seeing this artwork, what are your thoughts and feelings? In this painting, called The Wounded Deer, the surrealist elements are more evident. This painting depicts the pain she experienced after spinal surgery, portraying herself as a young deer pierced by arrows, symbolizing the intense suffering that tormented her. Frida's self-portrait on the borderline between Mexico and the United States. This painting again expresses Frida's feelings for Mexico. She holds the Mexican flag with industrialized, smoke-filled America on her right and the natural scenic landscapes of Mexico on her left, showing her longing to return to her home country. Frida, self-portrait with short hair. This painting depicts the time when she divorced Diego Rivera. She cut her hair to express her sadness and disappointment over her love. Frida, the two Fridas. This final painting depicts two versions of Frida sitting side by side, one in traditional Mexican attire and the other in European-style clothing, symbolizing her dual heritage and the emotional divorce she experienced during her divorce from Diego Rivera. Frida's life was filled with extraordinary circumstances. The pain, sorrow, anger, hope, and emotions and love she experienced throughout her journey became the greatest source of inspiration for her art. Through her self-portraits and other paintings, she shared these feelings with the world, creating an artistic legacy that continues to astonish and inspire future generations. People deeply admire Frida not only for her striking beauty or her captivating paintings, but more importantly for her story and optimistic and resilient attitude towards life. No matter how harsh life was, she always faced it with grace and strength.